Hey, welcome in. Just need to fix the overlay chat audio again. That seems to have decided it's not going to ping up. That should work now. Repairs, maybe. Depends how quick I get through this. I've got, time we on started a bit late, it's like 6 already, so I've got like 3 hours, maybe, I'd say. So yeah, I'm almost sure we'll get onto some kind of repair. You can see though, I've got a lot of stuff I've been buying while I've been away. So I've been away for a week and I've been buying a crap ton of stuff. I haven't used any of it yet, I just opened it all up. There's still a ton more to come, but I figured, save going through all this and then going on a stream later, I might as well just work through it while I'm on stream and you guys get to see a bunch of new stuff. So I've got new product from Fleur. So Fleur sponsor me in a sense, very natural and very non-contracty. They just send me stuff for free, basically. They don't expect anything at all from it. They just send me their products to test, and if I like them, I use them. If I don't, I don't. Perfect kind of collaboration, so you guys don't have to sit and listen to sponsor chat. But we have a new camera here we'll go through. I've got to redo the, well, I'll re-show you the Clean Juice AA fitting guide because the production run that's come, the USB covers are slightly snugger than the one I was testing on, so we'll go through that. And then I've got a whole lot of AliExpress stuff here, plus I've got obviously branded stuff as well, so expensive stuff. So we're going to compare if some of the cheap stuff is any good. Half of it goes in the bin. I normally buy a bunch from AliExpress and then 50% of it goes straight in the bin as I'm testing. But sometimes you get some really good products. So what we will do, oh, that's wicked. I've got a TikTok's amazing. I love TikTok when you start off. I haven't even started the video yet and it's gone. So I guess we won't be doing opening up products on TikTok, that's for sure. Literally blocked before we've started. So I'll close down the TikTok chat. There's nobody going to be in there. Right, so let's just get started then. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way until we test. And we'll work our way through it. So I'm going to move this off the desk. I've also done something really cool with this behind me here. I've worked all weekend on some pretty cool software, so you'll get to see that in a minute. I'm going to do what I shouldn't do and balance this on a bin. So if it falls off, everything's going in the bin anyway. Right, there we go. So we'll go through a few things that are not much use to me yet because other stuff hasn't arrived. But I have, and I can zoom in a bit now as well. I have some hot air tips, and this is because we discovered, I think a week and a half ago, I've been killing Game Gear VDPs with overheating them. First time it's ever happened with anything with hot air. I've never willingly or knowingly killed anything with hot air before, and I think it's a bit of an exception with the Game Gear because literally the CPUs and the Z80s come off fine, but clearly 100% I've proved to myself that it's been me killing them. So I figured it's time to up the hot air game and improve it. So I've got some purposeful directional hot air nozzles, so the hot air stays off the chip, which, if I get the last one I killed before we realised I was killing them, we get this one, this should, yeah, fit perfectly over. So that literally is the perfect fit. And the idea of this is the hot air just blows on the pins, not the chip, so the chip stays as cool as possible. But you'll notice these come with a grip fit, and the current Hakko is a kind of push fit. So these aren't going to fit. I don't think they are. They better not, because I brought another iron. But if anybody wants a Hakko hot air station, I've now got, might have 2 spare. I had 3, I've sold 1. Might have another spare. Yes, they aren't going to fit in there. So if anyone wants my, like this, literally, this iron you see me use, I've got another one coming that I'll show off when it comes. The main reason I brought it is literally just because these nozzles are very hard to get for that version, whereas this style are easier. Hakko, yeah, I've gone back to the Hakko. I'll explain why through this video. There's a reason for it. Partially I've been cleaning up all the stuff I've got and finding out what we have. But these I'll show off when we've got the new hot air station. So for now, they can go over there, ready. What are we doing? We are going through a massive pile of stuff I've brought on. Well, some of it's Hacko, some of it's Fleur that I've been sent, other stuff's AliExpress. I'm just currently going through a load of stuff I've brought. Then I'll show you off some new software. And then we'll maybe do repairs, so just a bit of everything at the minute. Another thing I have, what shall we start with next? I have 3 of these, because when you look at a picture online, you can't really tell what size these things are. Oh, I've got more nozzles as well. A lot of this is nozzles. I'll put them away. I've got a big army of nozzles over there now. Yeah, so another thing I've got is these, and they all looked the same when I brought them. So the picture online of these all look the same size. So you can clearly see that's why I buy all of them. And then if I zoom out of this a minute, one thing you probably won't have noticed I've had up here, well you definitely won't have noticed it's out of view, but for over another week we've got this other arm. So we've got this flexible arm up here. I've got so many arms and things mounted coming off the ceiling, it's crazy. But this arm now, the idea is, again, kind of aimed at improving this Game Gear build. When I want to, say I wanted to hot air this off, or take this connector off, you see me just get like a phone stand and flip it over and rest it here, and it's a bit awkward. The desk mounted little grips that do this are always a bit flimsy, or you have to get them out on your desk and set them up, it's a pain. So I figured, going a bit crazy, could we just kind of use a gripper like this and hold the board and float it around. I didn't know how heavy they were or how big they were, so I think this thing could probably hold me up on the desk, but Jesus, yeah, that can probably hold a PS3 on the desk, so I don't think that one's going to be needed for this. I'm hoping the little one would work, little grippy, but if not, we've got medium grippy, and that was completely unintentional. I didn't realise I was buying 3 different sized ones, they just all had different ratings. Preparing for UK troubles. What troubles? I'm shit with news, politics, anything. I don't watch or know anything. We could be in World War III and I wouldn't know. So you're probably going to have to enlighten me on that one. So this now can come down. I'll zoom up so you can actually see what I'm doing. All I have to do for this is reach up and unscrew this one arm. I don't even have to get off my seat. Oop, whacking the camera. I just tighten that up, it stays up. Put my arm up, untighten, and I've got this now. Movement, which is what I want. So the idea of that, if it's going to work, is I'll bring this down, and I might just have to reposition this, you know, adjust it to find the position, but if I take this off, let's see if my idea works. For one, that isn't the right connector. Of course not got the right connector. It's a baby one. Oh, they're all that connector, wicked. So I'm going to have to go and find a bag of connectors. I do have, I haven't brought them because I've got tons of adapters for this. Does that just unscrew? No. I figured this would have every connector with it. Obviously not. Where have I put them is the next question though. I've literally got a tub full. I think they're down the garage, of course they are. Okay, so let's just test my theory, because this is just to see if this idea is going to work anyway. I will just hold this in a position where this would be. So we could grip that on. That could quite easily be there, say, yeah, that looks like it's going to be perfect. So if that was in that position, if I can tighten that up so it doesn't move. We know the arm's there, if I just hold it with my arm like that. The only thing is the weight of that arm. Yeah, it's got no problem holding that up. So the arm's going to be strong enough, that's there, and then I could adjust this just as easy and make it stick up. That's perfect. So you imagine that there now, and I wouldn't be holding it with my hand. I can quite easily then get hot air under here and lift things off, so that's going to work perfect. So all I need to do is I've got these connectors in my garage so I can actually adapt to that. It come with them, and I presumed looking at it it was going to fit. Otherwise I'd have gone and grabbed them from the garage already. But I'm not going to go down just to get them when I know for a fact I've got all these converter bits for the end. So that's going to work cool. And then when I'm hot airing connectors off or other things, this allows me to float up. I've got something else coming as well in case this didn't work, but it looks like it's going to. So again, when the other stuff comes, I'll show that as well. But that is another thing that's now going to be useful for the stream. So then to get rid of this, I just lift, well in fact that stays unscrewed, I just lift this up out of the way and latch that up. So it's nice and easy, don't have to mess around, get things in and out. And I can just hold things above my desk when I want, and when I'm done, I'll move it out of the way. These I'll probably just put in storage for now because obviously way overpowered. But that one I'm going to use, so I'm going to keep him on my monitor there for now, I think. So that's that working, that's one good thing. Another one is, let's see, this is an important thing. This is the reason I've changed back to my Hakko. You guys mention the solder fumes all the time. Obviously, I kind of haphazardly just turn the fan on and off when I want. I do really need some better extraction, so I've done a lot of research into the extractors. I do have one for the Walla, so I've got these. These are my sort of expensive irons. I've got quite a few of these. I've got Wallas, Hakkos, all sorts. So these are more expensive. These are the irons I used to use, but I like to kind of show you guys tools you can use that don't cost thousands. So these are like, well, when I brought these were probably close to £1,000 once you got the setup. Now you can get the older models for, you know, hundreds, which I'd probably recommend. I've got the tweezers as well, so I figured we might as well make use of them because I've got them, even though I don't really need or use them. I've got them on my desk now. But the reason I've changed back to the Hakko was the fume extractor. What I want is probably an automatic fume extractor, because the thing is, if I just want to quickly tin a wire, I'll just pick up the iron, tin the wire, and put it back down. I'm not going to bother turning on some fume extractor, you know, turning and twisting a nozzle and waiting. And the Hakko, as well as like JBC, have a system where as soon as you lift your iron, it can turn an extractor fan on. So I'm debating that, but the problem is the extractor I've got's already £1,200 and you can't automate it, it's an older model. The newer model Walla that you can automate from lifting the pencil out of the stand to turn on the extractor itself's another £1,000, but then the iron I've got, because it's an older model, so this station here doesn't support the automatic lift out, so then I'm going to have to buy another Walla iron. Even though I own 3 of them, I'm going to have to literally buy another, so it's going to cost me close to £2,000 just so that I can lift my iron up and turn a fan on. But it's kind of important, so until I decide if I want to blow another couple of grand, especially over Christmas, I've just tried another, well, I haven't tried yet, I've just brought another extractor fan, which looks bigger than this baby one. This baby one works good, I've been using this, but obviously size usually matters, so this one should work better. It looks like it's come with some filters as well. This won't be a HEPA filter, this is just going to be a carbon particle filter. But better than nothing. The one I'm looking at buying is a full-on HEPA approved beast with like 3,000 something airflow compared to these. I've got about 50. So, and like I say, I already own them. I just don't use them. So I really need to start doing that. Yeah, so I've actually seen 2 PS2 Slim orders come in, and at the same time we've had like 2 sales. But I saw one this morning. I think one was last night. I'll probably do that on stream maybe. We've got quite a few. We've got Amigas, PS2s, Saturns. Everyone's buying for Christmas, I think. So let's test if this fan works. You can first see my existing one. This is where you get to see the nice new super small iron as well. So we might as well go a bit closer so we can see. This thing heats up ridiculously fast as well, by the way. Obviously this was my first professional iron, so I do like it. I just chose to use cheaper ones on stream so you guys could buy them. But if I say just turn this off a minute, turn it back on. So this got to wait. We just got to wait a minute for the temperature to drop. Oh yeah, our SP batteries are literally made by us. So we use a battery factory for everything. We're even having AA batteries made at the minute. So you can have, you know, rechargeable AAs for all the new clean juice products coming up. One I'll show you in a minute. So those batteries are being made as well. But all the SP batteries we have made at a factory. We were actually the first in the world to make brand new official SP batteries that were 900 milliamp hour. And then every other one you see in the States is a clone of ours. So this was years ago we made it. Everybody used to just make little tiny PCB boards that sat in between an off-the-shelf AliExpress battery wrapped in a piece of plastic. We went straight to the battery factory, had a complete mould made. So just a basic injection mould surrounding a cell. That's how you make batteries. Had it wrapped, and everybody else, like they do, cloned our product, wrapped it different, and then started lying about the capacity, saying it was 950 milliamp. But we work directly with the battery factory. I can show you the messages literally off the battery factory where they ask us if we want to use them and say these other clients have used them, and they're wrapping it with 950 milliamps, and I just say, what's the real capacity? And they tell me it's 900. You can't physically fit any more in that space. So the most you'll ever get in an SP is 900. If they show you any higher, it's completely fake. But yeah, that's the market. So this is cooled down. Watch how quick this heats up. Ready? Off. By the time it's in your hand over here, it's like, what's that, 3.5 seconds. So pretty fast. And these are active tip technology. These are, just so you know the difference, which basically means when you're working with super fine tips, so you can see how fine that is. I don't want to burn my finger, but oh, it's actually made it worse on the focus. Come on, little camera focus. So that tip is super fine, and what it does is the way it senses it is it can sense the tip of the iron, not just sending random heat into the body of the iron. So it means the very tip of a fine tip iron will still be hot. So if I just touch the very tip, you can see it melts the solder. That then obviously without the fume extractors just goes straight up into my face basically. So without that, I normally turn this on, and now when I work away, see that gets pulled through nicely. So if I move further away, you can see the effective range on this. It's probably, and let me, I don't know where my tweezers gone. I've lost my tweezers, there we are. Move that out of the way. Get some. I've definitely been cleaning up. I can't find where things are. There we go. Get some of this so I don't make a mess of my desk for no reason. Let's see how far away we can get and it still work. So I'd say there is the limit. It starts to wick and go in the air. So we have, what's that? We all know that's 6 inches, don't we? Yeah, that's probably about 3 inches away, I'd say. We are there. So the little one does fine, but you have to place this right where you're working, and it's also quite loud. I'm hoping this one isn't as loud. I haven't turned it on yet. Don't even know if it's charged. USB-C, cool. So we know this one gives us what we need to at least get rid of the smoke out my face. But let's see if this bigger one's any better. I think it's also got a light, has it? Yeah, it's got a little work light, so that might be useful. Yes, that's much quieter. Oh, there's only 2 settings, so there's 1, 2, but 2, that's the loudest. That's the noise of that one. It's like a fucking jet engine. So this is at least a bit quieter. Let's see though if it does its job. Yeah, the Mako one is the one that used to just stick pieces of plastic, well, pieces of PCB in a Chinese battery. He's literally the guy that did that and then made a big fuss because we made a proper battery. So, yeah, I'd avoid him at all costs. He's a person that loves to make drama and do fake reviews and clone other people's products. Funny plane, they're not too bad, but they are mainly just a cheap reproduction place originally. Now they've got good products, so you're probably going to get a good battery from them, but customer support I don't think exists much. But yeah, I'd say if you're going to go with one that isn't ours, Funny Plane's probably your next best bet. Right, so that one's starting to struggle about there. Yeah, so literally, funnily enough, the length of this mat is almost exactly right. Other than that, that's game perfect. Obviously, close is very good. You can literally see the stream going in perfectly. So it's just a perfect stream. As we come further back, you can see near the edge of this mat, so right by the edge, that's the working distance of this. So, just to confirm again. Oh, I didn't have this on max, but I wouldn't run this on max because I run it on this, but you go any louder, and it's just, that's so annoying. But, let's see on max. Yeah, so on max, it matches the range. Actually matches the range of the bigger fan. It just sounds ridiculous. So we're not gaining anything in terms of distance if we were to run this on crazy high volume, but then you wouldn't be able to hear me speak. But this one I'm going to keep as well, so that's another winner. Works nice and quiet. So I wonder what level 1 on this does actually as well. Let's leave it on level 1. Or was it on level 1 the first time? I can't remember. Don't think it was. Yeah, level 1's not the best. I'd just run this on level 2 all times. And then you've got a nice... Actually, it was back on there, wasn't it? Near the end of the mat. Yeah, level 2. Level 1's not very good, so... that will be my new fan. So that's what we got. We haven't chucked anything yet. Normally I've chucked a load of stuff by now. I brought, just so you don't believe me that I do actually buy them and chuck them. Have we cleaned up the boxes now? Of course we have. See if it's literally still in the bin from the other day. Yeah, we've literally just changed the bins yesterday. So I've got another fan off AliExpress, which is a mechanic. You'll know the name. It is the clone of these. Oh no, that's the real life. This is actually, there's a few makes. So there's this 2UUL. This is a good known make. These seem to be fairly good. There's real life, which is what this one is, and there's mechanic. These are like the 3 most popular brands at the minute on AliExpress for electronic products. I brought a mechanic blue fan. Absolutely and utterly useless. Don't even bother. I think it's like £20 on AliExpress. It looks like a little fan like this, but on a little stand, like a phone stand. Totally useless. At full power, over the solder. Solder was just drifting off to the sides. Totally useless. But this one, 2UUL, definitely recommend. That's going to be my new desk fan. Until I probably upgrade to an even higher fan. So let's put him... he can go there, I reckon. Move these solder balls out the way now. We've got a new sub, thank you very much. I'm also starting the sub-only streams on Wednesday at 4 PM. We're going to go through initially all the desk setup, so everything I use. We're going to then go into like a bit of basics of soldering, and then we're actually going to make a product. So we're going to make a product for the PC Engine GT. I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer it, how to make the PCB, order it, build it, and send it to production for selling, and then we'll also release that product. So if you want to see that entire journey, then just go as a member on YouTube or sub on Twitch and you'll see that. It's also much more for getting one-to-one with subs and being able to answer your questions better and teach you anything you want to know. These spare fans, and I've got a tub up here for them, or spare filters for the fan. One other cool thing I had as well that I didn't actually show, I got these, one of the viewers mentioned you can get different coloured enamel wire, and I struggled. They don't do it on AliExpress, but straight from my factories I managed to source black, green, blue and gold, or they call it gold but it's basically like a dull red, enamelled wires. So you know the one I've been using, which I've put away now, is red. I've now got green and blue. And the benefit of these is, in one way, the fact that they must be slightly cheaper than the red stuff I buy, this enamel burns away much easier, or this coating that's insulated burns away, so to burn it with my iron is so much easier, which makes the job 10 times easier as well. So it's very beneficial for me, because the biggest job within Ammo White was sitting there for ages trying to burn off the coating. Right, we have, I've got one of these I haven't tried yet, a Cube ODE. So we've got a ton of game cubes where the lasers don't work. We put Peekaboots in them, but this would be a nice option to, I think this replaces the drive completely. So for the game cubes we have with dead lasers, we'd probably offer this if it works. It'll just be similar to the Peekaboot, allow you to load the games off SD card. So I've got one of them to try. I can try it on a build if you guys want, but with it being obviously the whole, I don't know, I guess we mod all the other consoles and show X stations and stuff, so we shouldn't have a problem showing that off. Another one is, we'll get to that one, or those two after. So part again of doing the hot air work on here and trying to improve what I do. You've all seen me remove these, and again I like to keep my work as simple as possible and not overcomplicate it with too many tools, so that people following along can follow what I do. So to remove this off, you can see I don't use a special nozzle, and I'm not going to start using special nozzles on these other chips, just the VDP. I just get the hot air and warm this chip up, and we're at 480 degrees. So one thing I'm going to do, just again because we have the issue with that VDP, and just so I don't ever forget to lower the temperature of me hot air, and so I don't have to keep doing that, I'm going to lower my working temperature now right down to 330. So this is something that I've never had to do and never would do, because it takes a lot longer to warm the board up and get chips off. But now we've seen the issue with the Game Gear, I'm going to find the best setting at the 330 degree air to remove chips. So this is going to take significantly longer. It should be the exact same process. But obviously I can normally remove these chips in 15-20 seconds if I wanted to. The way I show it takes 1.5 minutes, which is to preheat the board above like this, go down after a minute. At the 330 degrees this is probably going to take 2 minutes plus to remove. But if it saves chips, if I ever come across other chips that I've not yet, like the VDP, that will die with heat, I don't want it to be me that's killing it. So when I warm this up, what I do is I'll just put tweezers under and lift up, just because one tool does the job nice and simple. But on things like this, the 1 ASIC, I tend to find this is a little bit difficult. I'll push and it'll drag over to here, and I'll lift and unlock these caps off. So there is tools, and I do already own some, but I've gone ahead and brought more. The expensive one I've got that works the best is this Hakko. So this is a Hakko 394. It's basically got a nice silicon tip at the end, and we'll have to get a chip off to show you, but basically you put this over the chip when you're ready to take it off, press this vacuum button, and then it lifts up. So you can see it can nearly lift the chip off the board, which it actually can do, because it's got a vacuum button. So we know this one works, but then what I've done, this is like 120 pounds or something just for getting a suction cup. Obviously AliExpress comes into the mix, and in fact before we remove that then, let me show you. So we have this one I brought. I can send you links to all these, but these are manual suckers, so you basically push in, create a vacuum, and then put it on something, let go and lift up. So if we did that on this board, put it on, press down first, put it on, let go, lift up, you can see it does an okay job. Let go. Not quite as strong as the Hakko, but you know, it does do the job. So that's just about gonna work. And then obviously I never buy one, so I brought another one that looks basically identical, with loads of bits. And this is, if you see these, they pretty much look like they've used the same idea but a different plunger, slightly different design. This one looks a bit cheaper on here, but the ends look strangely, I think, better in some way, being like black plastic and then metal combined, and this just like pulls off. So it's got like metal inserts into plastic housings. Not sure the benefit of that, but let's try this one. So stick on, and these are like, oh, push down first, let go. Wow, that's stronger. So that's probably closer to Yeah, that's as strong as the Hakko. In fact, that might even be stronger. Let's try the Hakko one. I don't think it's stronger than it, but it's definitely as strong. Yeah, in fact, I think it is stronger. So we've got, obviously, the £120 one and this nice Al Cheapo one, which is an A10 ATB778. So far, that's the winner. And again, these are like, I don't think any of these are more than £10–15. And then I've got one more, which is this little thing. This one looks cool. This is a portable one on the go. And what I like to do is, I like to use the larger tips, the tiny ones like this, how it's come with a tiny nozzle. That's good for nothing. Like, what are you lifting with that you can't lift with tweezers? So we just pull the rubber off that. And you'll find that the rubber is one of the main reasons that certain tools are better. Because all it's using is a bit of vacuum, so really, it's how well the vacuum's sealed. So we might change the nozzles between handles and see which one's best. So this one's like a little baby one that's quite cool. Push in, stick down, let go. Yep, just as good. So we have, that's actually quite cool. That's nice and compact. The only thing with this is if you're hot airing and your hot air's here and you're trying to get in, this might be a little bit, small and you're going to burn yourself, but I doubt it. You'd normally come off the heat and lift off anyway. I wouldn't normally keep the heat on and lift off because you don't really want to apply heat to the product. And to be honest, even the Hakko I don't find great because if you look at the angle, I always feel, to me, they want to be down here and this wants to be bent more. And it looks like you can bend the tip, but you can't. I want to be working like that, but instead I have to work like this, which raises this hand closer to the hot air. So if anybody listens that makes these things, they should really bend that tip more. And I've tried to bend this, but again, expensive tool. I don't want to apply too much force. And yeah, you can see that's just a solid metal tube with a spring on for visual. So maybe I can buy Hakko tips that bend. Actually, am I missing? I think I'm missing a thing on there. Or do you think that's for an adapter? I've just noticed we've got like a thread there, but I've got a feeling that thread will be for maybe some other adapter. So you can attach something else to this, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the angle of all these seems to be a little bit too, or not sharp enough for me, basically. So, go on there, lift. But the Hakko convenience is, if you don't, I guess, lift it past a certain point, I presume this will hold all day. Because you're constantly, if you can hear that noise, it's constantly vacuuming. So it's not going to wear out. The only time you're going to wear it out is lifting too much. Whereas on these, they're basically, you push in, lift, let go. And if you lose your vacuum, it's just gone. So you've got a set time to work with these non-battery powered ones is the only thing. So yeah, that one's actually struggling now. Oh, it says scraping the chip. So you just wait. And then that's it. So you have a finite amount of time with, and that'll be the same with all these, even the good one, this A10 or A10. If you click on, yeah, that's definitely easier to use, this bigger one. Lift and wait. You'll see natural leakage with air. Depending how good the seal is, will naturally drop. This one seems definitely the winner, this A10. Dropped eventually. But that's more than, if you haven't removed the chip in that time, then obviously what you're doing with the chip, just floating it around. It's just the added convenience. You pay more money, you get more features. But this one now, you could stand here for 10 minutes. It's not going to fall off because you've got permanent new vacuum. So I'll still use my Hakko, I own it. And then you can just let go to instantly let go as well. But for cheapness, this is the one I'll go with, the A10. So I'll keep this one. If anybody wants these other two pens, just leave me, I'm not going to charge you for them, just leave a note on an order. Just put either baby or big. Include baby suction tool or include big suction tool. Just leave a note on your order, I'll send you these for free. Obviously, the first person that does it, you might have a few people asking. First person that does it will get it. But yeah, they work. It's just I don't need that many. I just brought them all to find the best one. Find that if you lift the board off the rubber mat and use cheetah hands to elevate the PCB with hot air. Yeah, what I've done, I don't know whether you've joined in later in the stream or not, but I've got above my head, I showed it off at the start, something that we can use. I just need to go grab the adapter from the garage. Yeah, I'll sort that out after. I've got this little gripper here that we can grip on circuit boards like so. And if I zoom out, what I've got above my head that you don't see is I just unscrew that, bring this down, and I've got now an arm here that I just need to get the right adapter for. That'll go on there, and now I've got a permanent solid mount there, and I can get the hot air under, work away, and then just unclip the board, and I just have to literally lift that up and just screw in one little thing like that. So I've got like a nice little floaty desk gripper. I've got another solution coming as well for that, but none of that stuff's here yet. Right, what else do we have? So we've got, that one is going to be kept for me but not used at the minute, so I'll put that up there. Oh, actually I didn't show as well, I forgot. I've been buying loads. That's the problem when you go away, you just buy stuff. I brought this as well for checking how bad it really is to not use an extractor fan. So this is, let's go to the overhead camera actually. Zoom out, a bit close. This is a 10 top, don't know what it is, cost £100 or 200. This is reading the quality of the air in the room with particle sizes of 2.5 and 10, I don't know, microns maybe. So this is telling us how good the air is. And obviously this is much better now because we have I guess my fingers are dirty. We have the Shark Clean Sense, it's called, Clean Sense IQ behind us, filtering the air all the time of exactly these particles. But the issue you have is if you're soldering, so if I just solder near it over here, I think you're meant to have this, or both numbers below like 25 or something for it being healthy. So if I just put a little bit of solder there, just near it, and then imagine this is like my face because it's now going up into my face. That's all I'll do, one little solder joint, won't do anything else. And then if we just wait for this, I think it reacts. Obviously, it's got to read. Now, the thing is as well, this is sitting down on the table. The air is technically up, and it's risen up into my face, so that might not catch it. And you can see that's not really changed much being there. So if we go to this camera instead, and let's place it up as if this is my face. So obviously you can imagine my face is up here, so I guess I could lift it up into the air like that, as if I'm actually soldering, and just burn some solder, and I'm just not using the extractor fan for, what's that, like a couple of seconds, one solder joint, that's all I've done. I've done nothing else, just done one solder joint quickly. And then look at that, 600, 700, like hazardous. So dangerous amounts of, just off one solder joint, dangerous amounts of smoke, if you will, particles. So this kind of really does highlight how bad the air really is for you. If I can get that to stay on my poor man stand, like that say. So this is the test I want to use for, there we go, you can still see the number there, so you can still see we have like 77. What I'll do now is get my new mega fan, big greenie. This actually wants to be this side because my face is this side, so I don't want this being where we're blowing the smoke. It wants to be where my actual face is, so kind of this side here. And if you just looked at that number, if I turn the fan on, just on its own, you should see this rapidly improve the air quality because it's sucking new air past where I am, so past where this sensor is. And that should even fix the air. Are we on 2? Yep. So I think, to be honest, at the minute the room's like actual fumes is about that. So that's, I don't think that's going to come down much more. That is the quality of the air in the room. I think you can probably force it to do nice quality air by sucking fresh air straight through the device. This should lower it down. This is like pulling the particles straight through, and this is going to tell us what the quality of the actual air in this room is. So because I've already been using it without a fan, we've got that particles in the air at the minute. So that's the baseline 36, but you saw it went up to like 700-800. So if I now solder right where my face is, so I'm going to solder right here, but with the fan there. And that's about as much as I did before. And this went up to 700. So I'm going to leave it right there. And you can see that stayed a nice solid 35, so let's carry on. So you can see how much that does actually work, and all we're doing really is, for the most part, blowing the smoke to another part of the room. So it's not the perfect solution, but then I have the particle filter behind me that cleans up the room in the air in the room. But yeah, rock solid. So now if I turn the fan off, do another, that's it. One, that's me just deciding I'm just going to quickly strip a wire and do nothing else. Move it out of the way. And then we should see that that will skyrocket in a second, I presume. Like I say, it's not a rapid change. It's like, it takes 5 seconds to scan the air, really. And you can see that's now already gone through the roof. So that's literally how important using the extractors are, even if it's a cheap, basic one. You know, very unhealthy. We've done one solder joint and it's very unhealthy. So that's why I brought this, just to really check if the extractors are working. I've obviously got I'm contemplating getting the much more expensive Walla HEPA fume extractor, but the setup's going to cost me a few thousand. So I will decide when I want to spend that amount of money on something that I already have. It's just not automated. And then another thing we have now is this wire. I've been buying so many things. Where's this tube gone? Tube in there. So I've got, again, the enamel wire. I also had, which you guys have seen, that molybdenum wire, however you pronounce it. Crazy strong wire that they use for like wire cutters. The problem with that was, even though it was super fine, it was a little bit too strong, so very hard to work with. So I've brought this again. You'll see it's the same make, and this 2UUL. They tend to be pretty good at most things, these. I don't know why it comes in this case though. You can't kind of feed it out of the case, so that's the product anyway. 0.02 mil. Don't know what it is, just says super soft wire. It doesn't tell me if it's tinned copper or silver or anything. Probably going to just be tinned copper, with it not being an official kind of, you know, not like a major brand in a sense. So let's see where the wire is. See it floating around. Wow, this is fine. That's very fine. This might be too fine. Well, the whole point is I brought it for when I need to work on doing tiny jumpers, but I can't even see the wire. Ah, you can see it under the scope. And then it's broke. And broke again. Oh, yeah. That's what the stickers are for. That's why they've stuck it on, because you can't see the thing. So let me just clear this desk first. Got a little bit of solder gunk on from earlier. That's a bit better. Tweezers need cleaning. So, the wire, I presume, is under here. Is that the wire? No. Okay, that was my wrong idea. That's just telling me which way the wire is spooled. I thought the wire was going to be under there. There we go. Let's just break him off there. So he's there, stuck to the top. Yeah, so there's the wire. Finally got hold of it. That's going to be a pain to work with. Now, this is obviously not going to be crazy strong because it's so fine. This is ridiculously fine. Yeah, it's strong enough. It's for how thin that wire is, that's probably the perfect amount of tension. So if I pull, oh, I've snapped it off this end. So it's going to break easy, but the point is, if I need to do really fine connections onto thin traces, this should be perfect for it. So let's see if, do I have anything with a fine trace at the minute? I mean, we can just work on a Game Gear and that'll be like, in respective of fine traces, these are going to be ginormous for this wire. But what's the thinnest trace? I think we've got these, which are like 0.2. These are like way bigger traces. These aren't an issue for anything really. It's mainly for when I want to work on super fine traces, probably on like my circuit boards, things that are like the. In fact, there's a point. For my GBA, I have 0.1mm traces on here. This isn't enamelled wire, this is pure conductive wire, so it's going to be either silver or copper tinned with something. So my traces on the clean screen for GBA, these are 0.1mm traces. So if you compare that trace to the trace thickness of a Game Gear, they look fairly similar here. So if you looked at them here and here, they look very similar, but mine are actually half the width, and because they're so fine, we probably want to use scalpel. I would if I could find my tools again. I've moved all of my tools this side. So if we were to expose say a trace on here, you can see there's the traces. If we get this wire, as they call it, CPU jumper wire, it is very difficult to see and work with though. You can see that's probably, it's, yeah, well they say it's 0.02, which is obviously not the width of it because these traces are 0.2, so the wire should be 10 times thinner. So the marketing spiel on it saying it's a 0.02mm wire, maybe that's the, you know, not a width, it's maybe the thickness of the wire, circular wise. But then if we scrape away some traces on mine, because this is the kind of thing I brought it for if I needed to repair super fine traces, basically. I'll scrape away these. You should then, it's going to be hard to see if you'll tell the difference. So on camera, you can't tell much difference between them. They look very similar, but these are half the thickness of these. So the problem you'd have is if you were repairing multiple of these traces and they were next to each other, you want this to be able to pass through them. And that does look like it's going to pass through them traces nicely. So this should work perfectly in this instance. So for that, let's give it a go. I've also got my new superfine Weller tip. Yeah, got the Weller tip on. So again, fan, the thing I keep saying I need to be doing. A bit of flux. And then first we need to try and tin the traces. That's normally the trickiest part because if you haven't exposed enough, they won't tin. But you can see the Weller just makes light work of that. And then we want to now attach this wire. So this is as zoomed in as I can get for the overhead cam. I could go to the microscope if we wanted, but let me try and do this without a microscope, which is a bit silly because this is like the finest wire I've ever worked with, and I can barely see it with my eye. But what we do is tack down on the middle one, say, and yep, that's tacked perfectly. So you can see that's solid. So if I snap, what you do now is snap the end off this side, and there it is. Yep, so that pulls off just right. And the other side should still be attached. And you can see how difficult this is to see and work with. Like this is the problem with super fine work. You get to the point where you can barely see. But there's the trace, so you can see the wire still attached, and that's clearly attached where we blobbed solder on. So now I could move this over to another point that I needed to solder to, and then, you know, tack it over here, say where the trace is. So this could disappear over here. So let me just see if you're cleaning stuff like this, you're going to break it easily. So if I was going to clean with this wire around, I'd probably use a cotton wool bud, soak and drag in the way of the wire. But if it's too delicate, then I think I've just caught that with the stick and snapped it off already. So yeah, you can see I've already snapped the wire off. So it solders down, but it's incredibly difficult to work with. I think it's too thin. It's good. You can tack it straight onto a small trace, which is the key thing you need. You need to be able to tack it onto a tiny trace. That does work. It's just tacked on perfectly. But I think personally, that wire is a little bit too fine. I'm going to keep it because if I do need to do super fine work, I've got the wire now. But I'll probably look for a slightly thicker version of maybe even the same brand. This is just ridiculously thin, like thinner than I need, basically. But yeah, that's worked, so I'm going to keep it, but I'm also not going to probably use it very often, so I'm going to keep it out of the way. I don't need it literally on my desk. So that's one that isn't staying. We haven't even binned anything yet either. Like I say, I normally bin 50% of what I end up buying from AliExpress. But all these are turning out good. Right, we have one other well, we've got two other things, three other things to go through. We have, saving one of the best till last, but this is a new camera from Fleur, or Fleer. They're actually called Fleer. I've always called them Fleur, so you'll hear me always call them Fleur. This is a C8 camera. One of the new ones. Looks like a little mobile phone. We can turn it on. So one of the gripes I had, I've got a few cameras from them. We have... And I actually own many thermal cameras, and I've purchased the Fleur cameras before with my own money. So I own another one of these, the older model, somewhere behind all that stuff. The problem I've got with this one, you turn on, and right, let's watch this. So I just want to quickly take a measurement. I'll turn this on and just wait to see how long this takes to boot up. Still not booted. So this is just, again, completely unworkable for me. I couldn't use, and that's why I kind of don't use this, or I put off using it because of how long you're waiting to do something. Like, what is it? It's got to be a minute plus this has to turn on. And in the industry, obviously, this time matters. This is a massive delay in the job when you're trying to get through work. So there we go, it's booted. And the irony is as well, 50% of the time it boots, you then start getting pop-ups asking to register that then take you away from what you're just trying to do, which is quickly, there you go, register. Like, no. I just want to, you know, look at something. So, again, even though Fleur sponsor this channel in the sense that they send these for free, they don't ask me to be dishonest. And I'm quite open about the fact that even though this is a good thermal, not as good as another one I've got here, the turn on time is really the killer for this. So if I just wanted to quickly measure something on here, I've just lost like a minute of my life waiting, if not longer. But I noticed this came out. So I literally sent them a message just saying I've noticed this has come out, and 3 days later I've got one. So turn this one on if it's charged. Hold in. Right, so there we go, we've turned on. And we want to measure this Game Gear board. You can see it still takes a little while to boot. Now, when I've booted it before, I think I've had it booted in like 3 or 4 seconds. So I think there's probably like 2 states. There's probably like a deep sleep and a sleep state. So we'll power this off and power it on again in a minute. But you can see already significantly faster than the other one. So this has taken maybe 15 seconds to boot. And then we're in action. You've kind of got a visual before. So it's still not super quick there, but if you notice, if we turn off, like so, so it's, oh, is it not turning off, or is that just a, oh yeah, there you go. So that's off, you think, and I presume this is like an Android device inside. So if I then turn on with that button, let's see if it's the same time, and I'm sure it boots up when I've been playing around with it. There you go, booted up already. So it's got obviously the first check of the day. You've probably got the 15-second, 20-second boot, but then you're just going to tap the power button, which that is a little bit thingy. There we go. You're going to put that away. It's not draining as much power, and then later on you're going to go, I just need to test this again. You're going to tap the power button. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 to 10 seconds. So acceptable. You're not going to get too much quicker on, you know, high quality thermals, just because of they do have to actually boot a system up and get going. Versus the ridiculous like minutes and minutes and minutes long of this. Quality wise, again, all of the flares seem to be very similar quality on the thermals. They're good enough, but I think obviously I'm used to very high-end thermals as well. You can see not the best in terms of PCB work. Like the overlays they don't align. So what I tend to do is turn off this overlay setting, which is where's the setting on here? Image mode. I just like pure thermal. So the MSX overlays a webcam, which is here over the image. I just like to see pure thermals because on PCB close-up work, the webcam never aligns with the thermal, and it just makes it worse than not seeing it. So that's what you're looking at. There's your Game Gear board, and you can see, you can make out that that's the Z80 here, but it's not super accurate. But for a quick, oh, where's the heat on this board, and you're looking over, which is what I normally start with. If I want to quickly check is there any thermal issues, I'd pull this out and just look around and go, no, there's no thermal issues on this board, obviously. But where the other one fails, this Fleur ETS 320, let's see this powering up. So I don't even really pay attention to how long this takes to boot because it's just that good. I ignore the fact if it takes long to boot, so I genuinely don't know how long this one takes. But I'm sure it isn't that long. I'm sure it's very similar to probably the new one. There you go, so very similar, and now we can start using it. Even though we don't have measurements on screen, we can start using it straight away. But look at the difference in detail. So if I adjust the focus and show you there, because nothing's warm at the minute, let's warm it up so there's a bit of temperature difference. Look at that, now there's a tiny bit of heat on. Look how ridiculously sharp that is. So that's what I'm always after in the thermal cameras. I like to see, I can literally tell you which pin on this chip is no good. I can see every single solder pad for every single SMD resistor. It's just so good. If we compare that now to this one, so if we just move that to the side, put this one in, and there's your difference. So, I can get that on screen. There's what you're looking at. You can't see anything. You can see that the chip is generally hot. You put it under this one, you can see exactly which pins are hot. So that's the major difference. But using this handheld, it's on a stand. You can take it off the stand, but it doesn't feel right just holding this kind of brick of a camera around. This feels more handy to quickly look around a board. And then especially if I want to use this as it's designed, kind of inspecting properly like this, going through the board, I don't want to have to keep removing this from the stand, taking the bit off the top and, you know, messing around basically. So I've got the two now. This one seems ideal for what I want, which is when you want to quickly check if there's any thermal issues, I can pull out the C8 and not have to wait 2 minutes for it to turn on. And if there is a thermal issue, I'll pull this one out and do a proper inspection. Now, the only other thing that I wanted to test after I got this, I realised apparently there's a USB mode, I think. So, there's a USB port I'm sure I read somewhere you can plug this in and it show up as a webcam, which means I could potentially have a little USB lead that I simply keep lying around, you know, floating on the desk, so I can just plug this in and overlay it on stream. So let's see if this shows up as a webcam. Yeah, it does. FLIR camera, nice. See what happens. Oh, it's called itself FLIR camera when I've plugged in. Let me see if I do have a webcam now. Camera app on Windows, maybe. I don't know whether we've got to do settings in here to connections, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, advanced. So no, it doesn't mention anything about USB on there. But I'm sure I've read this can output. I think it was on their webpage that it can output a USB camera. I love our Windows camera settings. You can't even select a camera; it just picks up whatever camera's first. Let's try and add it into Streamlabs. Video source it'll be. Video capture, add source, add a new source, and then does anything show in this list? USB camera? Nope. Elgato won't be that. Virtual Blackmagic UVC camera. I think that's new. Yes. So I'm in the menu there. So we have. Let's come out of that. Look at that. There we go. So we now have a thermal camera I can overlay on screen for you guys. So ignoring the reflection of this camera, I can then just go around this board, warm it up. There you go. So you can see the game gear. It's obviously only a 9 Hz refresh rate, but for allowing you to see, you know, what I'm seeing on screen, basically the exact same thing. So that's pretty cool that we can then overlay thermal, and I don't have to keep trying to angle this, because say I'm trying to show you like this and I'm looking at it, the way I look at it, either my hand's covering the screen or we're getting a big glare off the light like that, saying that's the position I want to see. I can see doing this, but you guys just see reflection, so I can add that overlay now on screen. So I'll add on top of that a thermal overlay. That'll be pretty cool. Morning, welcome in. We're just going through a ton of new stuff I've brought. And this new camera I've just had sent to me for free from FLIR/FLIR. I call them FLIR, but they're obviously called FLIR, but that's just how I've always pronounced it. And this now is going to replace the handheld one. Let's just hide that now. And yeah, this works good enough for quickly being able to check boards for heat, and then if we find a heat problem, I can pull out the other camera. It's also nice and compact, so all I do is I put it just under my keyboard tray here with the other few bits I've got. So I've got where I store these, just if you're interested, is just on the keyboard rack here. So I've got like the remote for the big monitor on the front, I've got the FLIR camera, and I've got this little sucker tool now, and that just slides under my desk when I'm not working. And that's that. So I'll show you one other thing as well at the minute that I think is super cool. So all over the weekend I have been working on, if you don't know, I'm a software developer. So I know I do this most days, but I am actually a software developer. I run a software company, and I also do consulting work for companies as well. I've spent the whole weekend making some software that we can get a multimeter on screen. So you'll see other people that do repairs, as well as I've done it myself. Probably a couple of years ago, you'll have seen it on my streams. You want to see the multimeter, so your classic multimeter on stream. So you want to like turn this on, get your voltage to show up on stream, so you don't have to get this in camera. Now the way everybody else has done it, and I don't think anybody, I'm 99% sure nobody else has done it any other way, because they can't really, and that's why I've made this software, is you have to either buy a multimeter, like an Owen, which I own, like a crappy little Chinese multimeter that has software on the PC, and then you've got a fixed piece of software with shit interface that can just show you some yellow numbers on screen. So pretty boring, pretty basic, and then you're also forced to use a multimeter you wouldn't normally use. Instead, I own this beast. It's like a £700 6.5 digit, super accurate multimeter. I spent the whole weekend writing software for it, so Regal Sal software called Ultra Sigma or Ultra View. They want you to pay, firstly you got to buy this for like £700-800, then they want you to buy another license for £200 or £300 to show some crappy little software on screen that you can't even find any info on. It's very hard to even find out what it does, where it is, how it looks. But if we type in Ultra View Regal into Tinterweb and pull it up on here, say, and we look through software versions, there's the website. So yeah, I want to see your software, please. It's very hard to find even a visual for it. So this will be the official site, the UK site at least. And then this is what I saw, £220. I don't mind paying for it, but what is it? Where's the visual? How do I set it up? I've also got to give them the serial number of the Regal, and then I've got to wait X amount of unknown days to get some kind of license that does something that apparently allows me to see something on screen. So I don't even know what I'm going to be able to see. It just all didn't really sit right with me. I'm like, well, what am I going to see? And then you go into images, I can't see. They've got an ultra view for a scope, so you can. This is like the PC software, and I don't want this on stream, like a big, blocky, shitty interface. It also looks very old. It looks a very outdated piece of software. So I literally can't even find. I've got a feeling it's going to look something like this on screen. Now that's no good for you. That's messy and ugly. So what I've done instead of doing that is I've wrote some software, and if I drag this over, you can see here. This is what do I have on stream there? Why have I also got an overlay? 1 second. Oh, it's the capture doesn't like doing that. I'm dragging it over and it's like showing something that is. Oh, I know why. I've got it already enabled. 1 second. Let me go to live views, turn off the multimeter that's secretly already on stream. You just can't see it. This is the software I see on my PC. So I've wrote this software. Oh, I'm going to have to just use the screen. I've got it already set up, so it's kind of interfering by dragging the software over. Let me just point at the screen instead. Go up to here. These are the live stream. This is the software I've written. I've called it Stream Electronics. Couldn't be arsed with a name. That's the name I've come up with because I'm going to be streaming the electronics equipment onto stream. You can see this has a nice interface. So I've made this all modern UI, made the logo, and then what we can do, we can show on stream, and you can see, ta-da, on my actual stream. Where's my hand? Well, you see at the top left of the stream, you've got this thing saying not connected, and it's literally this thing here. So whatever's on stream here, obviously not the cursor. I can hide and show it on stream using the software. The fun thing is, I can now turn this switch on here, and it's going to connect to. So if I try and maybe drag this down so you can see it on stream still, drag him over. Right, so see the multimeter here. I'm doing this so you can kind of see it in action in real life. This is the software. I'm going to turn this button on, and then if you watch this device, see how it's connected? It's now set up this, gone to multimeter mode, and made this really nice UI. I can toggle modes, so watch these buttons change here. When I click this current here, it's going to control the multimeter. So it's now completely changing modes. I can change through every mode. You can see I've made color modes on screen as well. So if we go to resistance, it goes blue, and then you'll see some different things in a minute. We've got continuity mode. You can see I've made the UI, so I've made like a nice little exclamation mark when it's above 10 million, like a shock. I've got so much power with this, so if I move this out the way, I can hide it as well on stream, like that. So if I move that up, and I'm the one then controlling that, and we could say work on a board here. So if I then get, say, this, and this is a common thing you obviously want to see happening. I can get, say, a clean juice we want to test. I can get the probes out now, and I can move this off my desk. I've got some extension leads coming because I can control it with software now, so I don't need to manually do anything. If I plug these leads in, I've written, this is obviously, bear in mind, I've wrote this all on Saturday and Sunday from nothing, but there's a lot of potential we can do here. See how the voltage is just 0, basically? That's how accurate it is. It's floating around 0, but it picks up on literally like the voltage in your hands and things. So I've got 0.03 volts in my hands. If I then measure the battery, look at that. So it now goes orange. So I've made like colour codes for different voltages. So above 3.5 volts goes orange, below that goes yellow. And I can probe in. There we go. What I can then do is we can have even say the top-down camera like this. I've left in this old one when I was messing around. Let me just delete that duplicate. There we go. So that's the overlay. You can see it's also semi-transparent, so you can see through the board, and you can see I turn lights on, they shine through. So nice and cool there. If I now measure say a 34 volt rail, look at that, goes to fire. So we've got different visuals for different colours. I don't think I've got anything at like 3 volts lying around that I can probe to show you, under 3 volts quickly. Just to show you like the yellow. So you see that's 20 volts. Anything around here, 6 volts. Maybe a feed. I'll tell you what will be. That's not quite in focus actually. There will be a feedback resistor around here somewhere for this regulator. I don't know which one it is. But if we probe one of these, just above, if that goes below 3.5, you'll see it turn to yellow. Go on, keep going. No! Come on. Go on. There you go. So I've got like a nice visual indicator of, at a quick glance, we can see the voltage range. So if we see the fire, we know we've gone like above a certain voltage. I can then do, say, resistance mode. So if I turn that off, resistance, similar thing, above 10 mil goes a big exclamation mark. Dead shorting will go white and show R. And then say this is about 700 ohms, that's still white. If you go to like 1K, so this will be like 10. Anything above 1K it shows a K and goes blue. So blue is in the Ks. White is below 1K. Same as dead shorting, and open will go a dark purple. So again, all stuff I can control and change however I like. Continuity, I've done quite cool here. So in continuity mode, don't really need that. It'll say open, obviously. And then when it's below, it will go green. So a nice visual indicator for you guys when there's continuity. But the other cool thing is, in continuity mode, if I get some resistors, so probably zoom out a little bit, we don't need to be that close now. If I get some resistors here, you can actually in continuity mode get a partial connection to show if there's breaks. So if we go on that, see how it goes orange and shows you the resistance, and then if you short it, it goes green and beeps. So all this is controllable in my software, and I've literally made this UI. So anything I want to do, one of the examples I said was, say we had the voltage go above 30 volts. I could have Charizard appear in the bottom corner on the stream and put a flame across because I've wrote the software and it's running on this PC. So we have ultimate control of this this setup, and you can see that's 10K, so that's above what it would read. Whereas if you go below 1,000 roughly or below 2,000, it'll show as a partial connection, and then otherwise it shows as shorted. But yeah, I've got so much control of this software of what we could do, and it can integrate and run with the stream. It can even send chat messages and output voltages and continuity and all sorts. This is just the first part of the software, basically. Diode mode, I'll show you that. We have an LED, say. The beeping at the minute is, if you switch to diode mode from continuity, that's draining the internal capacitance, so it thinks there's a connection while it drains the capacitance. And now if we go on with the probes, see that's the wrong way, so nothing lights up. If we swap the leads around, you can see the diode. I realised on the vertical you can't even see. On this one it shows the voltage, so as you'd expect, and look how quick it reacts as well. Based on this has been a stream, it's literally instantaneous. And this is running over Ethernet as well. So the bench power isn't plugged into USB, it's running over Ethernet. I'll be probably doing a repair. At the minute I'm just showing off the software I wrote at the weekend. So you see this dial at the top, I can hide and show. This is all running off software I've written, and it's actually running off this Rigel here. So I've wrote some code to interface with this, and the code is sitting running on my PC here. So I can swap modes go between, say, capacitance next. Oh, clicking the stream. Go to capacitance there and change modes, and it controls the actual Rigel multimeter here. So I'm just showing that off at the minute. Once I've shown that off and set up one other thing, I'll jump on a repair. Probably it's only 7 o'clock, so yeah, we'll probably get a repair done. So capacitance, you can see floating air capacitance in these cables because it's so accurate. It's showing like a few hundred picofarad. But if we measure, I think this is a 100 nanofarad cap. If we measure this one, yeah, so 100 and 200 nanofarad roughly. But bear in mind, you wouldn't normally use a multimeter to measure capacitance accurately. You'd use an LCR meter, which I own, but just for demo and the purpose. You can see this one is a larger one. There you go, 3.4. So this will be like a 3.3 microfarad cap. And again, I could make this change colour if I wanted. It's all something I can do because, again, the software's written by me. It's all open source as well. If you wanted to see this entire thing being made over the weekend, you can go to, for those of you that don't know, I also run a software company called Angel 6. If we overlay this on screen, you can see, I mute myself talking, I've got a channel called Angel 6. We can hide that meter now I'm done with it a minute. And on here, I've done, if you go to playlists, we've got this new playlist here, and this is me making that entire application in 2 days. So the very first one is here, showing that obviously I do Retro 6 to the Angel 6 viewers. I go through literally what I want it to look like. So this is the mock-up I intended it to look something like, and we ended up pretty much exactly as we wanted it. Show you how to design the logos, where we get inspiration for a quick icon we made, how to design and draw your own, and I made a little icon in the first one. The next one then I use Avalonia. I do consulting for Avalonia, and I do their videos as well for how to use Avalonia. So this shows you how to go from nothing, literally no app, all the way through to making what you see on stream. And then by the time we get to day 7, which was episode 7 rather, which was the second day in, you can see this is me writing the code, and then at the end I kind of show it off. Yesterday I think it was, showing off how I want it to work and how it appears on stream, and all the things I've just kind of shown on stream. I've done more since then, so I actually have another mode I haven't quite shown you yet, which is, if I bring this back up, we have temperature, and this is cool because it's if I plug in now, where do I plug it in? I've got a little K-type temperature probe. So this Rigel meter is that advanced, you can literally use any temperature probe that you like, and I've configured it to work with the one that goes in my Fluke multimeter. So I can configure it for literally any type of thermal probe. So if I plug that in now, this is now sensing the temperature on this. And if I warm it up, you can see, and again, green. But watch what happens if I heat it up. I think you can guess what's going to happen. Above 50, it goes to yellow. Above 80, it's gone orange. Above 120, it's gone red. And then over 200, fire. So we've got a full little temperature range. This can go up to like probably 1,000 degrees, I bet. So what we can do is take this down onto, say when we're doing these two A6, we can take this with Kapton tape onto the chip, have a go at doing the reflowing and monitor the live temperature of the chip, or even tack it on the board underneath. I don't think I've got any Kapton tape lying around. I think that's right. Yeah, so one cool thing we can do here is to get some Kapton tape, and say we were preheating this board or reflowing the board ready to lift things off, and you want to know the temperature, and we're practicing and learning how the tools are working and what's going on, and you don't want to guess at what temperature things are. You can take this to the board here. So let's just very roughly take that to there, and then what we can do, we could go to the overhead camera. I could move this in, and let's say we're going to remove this chip. We can then get the hot air, which is now at 330 and 80 degrees. And as I'm hot airing this away, let me just move this overhead again slightly on stream over to here. There we go. Because I keep thinking I'm not looking at the vertical much. And it's slightly off. So now I'm going to warm this chip up. I'm not going to purposely warm the probe up. That's just going to tell me what temperature the board is over there. So you can see this chip is going to be much hotter than 50 degrees at the minute, but the board is already at 50 degrees over that end. So this gives us a good idea as we are removing this chip, and I'll get the little Acco remover ready. We get an idea of what temperature stuff is near and around where we're going. You could also use multiple probes and put them in different places, but how cool is that for like a visual of live temperature as well of the board? There's just so much we can do with this like software now, and it just works perfect. Considering I've literally whipped this up in a weekend, I must say seems very stable and working exactly as I envisaged it. I went away for a week, and this is one of the things I was thinking of doing, and sort of kind of pre-planned it in my head of how I'm going to do it, and it's working perfect. So there you go. So now you can see the board over here is now at 120. And it might give us a visual of an indication as well as to when this chip would be loose. So you can see this cap's already loose, so the board's already quite warm. This chip normally has adhesive as well, so sometimes the Z8 will have a bit of assembly adhesive, but we're not there yet. And then you can go closer, and where I'd probably use it, not so much on the board, I'd probably use it on the IC if I'm, learning and practicing the best new temperatures to remove these chips. I'd kind of want to know. There you go. So that had some assembly glue on, so that's lifted off, and this new picker works perfect. And the board itself, we know, only ever got to 120, whereas that chip must have got to 300 to melt the solder. So we know, it's just one of those cool things. We can, if we probe the chip now while it's off, as best we can by taping this on. Although, it's hot. I was going to say, I can't really tape it on while it's hot, and this is obviously going to have contact. You'd have to use like thermal paste and things to get a super accurate reading. You wouldn't normally just place this on, you'd have to like put, you can't really tell doing that, it's cooled down. But I'd probably use, like, if I wanted to be really accurate, I'd use a bit of thermal paste, then this coupler, and then Kapton tape to stick this down to the chip while we are hot airing it off, to see, out of curiosity, what the temperature of the die actually gets to, basically. So that's the software anyway, and then, like I say, I can go to voltage mode and take that out, plug in the volts again, and I'm back to having my normal multimeter that I can then probe around for, say, we want to measure the battery voltage here. We go there, just because I like doing it, measure the high voltage, goes to 34. So that's that all working. When I'm done with it then as well, if we are, I don't think I'm going to be using the multimeter now, so I can just literally turn that off and turn the multimeter off. But you guys are at least seeing how that works. It's pretty cool. So there's literally now one more thing to show off, which is something that I'm looking forward to, and it's this, which you can't see. Zoom out. There we go. So this thing, I've got a few of these coming, but this one's arrived, so we're going to play with this one. And it better be what I think it is, which is a micro hot air station. So you can get micro tips for the normal hot air. So I have one here, for example, which may be hot because it's literally in line with that. So you can get little tips like this, which are nozzles that turn your normal giant hot air station into tiny tips, but they're not the same in any way as an actual soldering iron station that has micro hot air, and it's for a reason, and I'll show you when we get into this. But the idea again is I just like to do new things, so I like to learn new techniques. And it was all kind of inspired by having to change the workflow a little bit on the Game Gear VDPs. I've started to mess around more with the preheaters that I've had, getting a board to hold it above the air, changing my hot air temperature. I just enjoy stuff like that. It's like new and fresh again. So one of the things I want to do is have a play with micro hot air and see if we can end up using it for other techniques and other work. And on that note, just before we open this one, I just remembered one of the other things I always say. When people watch me use my desolder pump, and I always use hot air and then desolder pump off, people always say, "Oh, you need a desoldering gun." And I've owned every version and every kind imaginable. And I always show this and say, "Look, it's shit. It doesn't work. I rip traces." Now, I'm not stupid enough to believe that they must be all bad because they sell and people use them. And I've always said it's probably just something maybe I do wrong, or technique, or maybe it's just the boards I work on, but either way they don't work, and that was as much as I cared. But one thing I have done is I've just looked for and purchased the smallest tip they do for this, because somebody mentioned the tip size, obviously being large. The larger the tip size on there, the more you could damage the board, I guess, because the whole principle would be, the issue I have with them is when you use the hot air gun and push over, say, not necessarily these thick traces, but say these, how they have a nice thin trace. So over here is a good example, and we can probably do it now and show you. These thin traces that are coming off the vias here, when you put the desolder gun over, so you go over like this, you can see this metal end, which I'll probably, can I get that in focus? Almost. So this metal end here, this ring that gets super hot, that's how it all melts, is pressing on the traces here. So it basically just rips and breaks these traces. Now, I think I've figured out why. I never did much research into the desolder guns. I wasn't that interested in them. I think the idea is you're meant to have a tip that's smaller. So this has just got some solder in. They just put solder in the hole to protect it when you buy them. I think the idea is this hole should be smaller than the via's annular ring. So you're never touching the trace. You're touching the inner hole. So I think the reason I rip traces is possibly just the wrong tip size. So I don't know how you get this off. It just looks like a press fit to me. There's no screws or threads. So I've got no idea how we remove this from here. I'm going to presume. Actually, I think by the looks of it, it slides through and catches on the collet. Yes, it does. So we're going to have to take this off. Which, is it just a push in and twist maybe? I've seen quick change tools on this, so I'm hoping. Oh, just twist. So, yeah, so you just twist that way. And I think it came with a tool to do this, and I've probably long since binned it. So that slides off. There's the heating element. There's the tip. So you can see the tip that came with it and the tip I've got. Can't really tell much difference yet because obviously this has got solder in it. We need to use it. But let's slide that through here. Slide that on. And now we have this, so let's plug it in and see if we can desolder pump without ripping traces. And if so, then you'll probably see me using this. The other thing people said as well is make sure your temperature's not too high. I think it's turned on already. Temperature for the hot air, you probably hot air for the desolder. I think we want fairly hot. I think we want the 3, which it's already set to. So it's got 3 on there. And I presume the way we tell if it's working, I think this won't focus that high up to see the top of this tip. So you've got a blurry image there, but you can still see the solder in the tip there. If I just press the vacuum, will that clear that hole? Yeah, it has. So it's out of focus, but you kind of saw movement. Let me see if I can get it there. So now the tip is completely, yeah, it's just the angle. I can't get the overhead to show you, but that tip's now clear of any solder, and it's nice and small. So let's have a go at seeing if we can, one, will this even desolder? So I guess if we, the only thing is I'll probably, this mains power lead's thick and bulky and gets in your way a bit, but that's not major. Let's go over this. Ooh, just about fits over the leg. Like it literally gets stuck on that leg. So this tip is actually too small. But you're never going to rip a trace doing that, because you could literally see when you go over, it like, well, I'll say you're not going to. I don't think you're going to. Yeah, nice. And that didn't touch. The important thing is that didn't touch that trace at all. And is that free? Yeah, that's worked perfect. But this tip is a little bit too small. Like, it squeaks going over. So you literally have to force it down. Wait a second. And then pull it off. So that's actually working really good. So maybe it was the tip size. I think that's the key thing, because so long as your hot tip is mainly touching the annular ring, not the fine traces, I think this will actually be a viable option. So this is pretty cool, because this is one of the things that does take time, and you're kind of limited. Yeah, that's working perfect. Other than, it's definitely, this tip is too tight. I'll get the next size up. This is 0.6 mil. I'll get a 0.8 mil. That's impressive. I've never yet used a desolder gun without thinking or actually ripping traces, and that's literally, the legs are completely loose, completely done. That's wicked. So that's another thing we've now got. See how many things I've brought while I've been away and thought about. I go on holiday and I sit and just think about how to improve all the other things I've been doing. So now you'll probably see me using this gun a lot more when the next tip comes. I need the next size tip up. That is too small, but I feel confident that I'm not going to damage stuff with that now. So that's a nice to have. And obviously I've learned something new. I never really appreciated the simple fact that the tip size can destroy pads. So again, always learning new stuff. This I'm going to put, I don't know where, the spare tip. I need somewhere to put these tips now. I'm going to put him on there for now, and then when I come to use this, I'll need this to be left out somewhere, I think. Or, mind you, for how often I use him, he can go where he was, which is in the tub under the desk. I just need to remember where the spare tips are. Right, so now on to this. So this is another way of potentially doing it as well. And the reason I've got this is, again, just trying new things. I was lifting pads whenever it was on higher than 2. Yeah, I'll probably try the lower temps after. The lower temp was 400, was it? I can't remember, 400 or 350, but the solder should melt around 320, 330 anyway. Like, as in all of it, it obviously melts in the 200s, but I can always try the lower setting. Right, so this one, don't know what this cost. I think it was a few £100. I don't know, let me have a look. And then if it's any good, I can kind of recommend it for you as well. AliExpress, and I've got, like I say, a few other things coming as well, similar to this. A lot of new tools and things. Am I logged in? Now the last thing I laughed at is I've got my keyboard on screen here. I have to be really careful I don't sit and type passwords while you see me typing the passwords. Which I'm sure I did at some point. Right, I'm logged in. Spammy spam, go away. My orders. That's not come, that's not come. That's coming today maybe. God, I ordered a lot of stuff from AliExpress. Here we go. This was 320 quid. So, not cheap. You can get a hell of a lot cheaper irons, but I'm kind of hoping the price also dictates the quality a little bit, and that we've got a decent one. So I purposely looked for one that should be decent. Manuals I never read. Ooh, whacking the camera. Iron. Yeah, feels pretty good. Let me move that up so you actually have an unboxing experience, not a crotch experience. There we go. So the reason these tips are better than using the giant hot air with one of these is because the tube is already thin. all this stays hot, and I think, yeah, these will just slide out. So these have got like cartridges, so all the hot air stays super hot right up to it, and that is crazy fine tip. That's literally pin hot. That's smaller than that 0.6mm hole tip on that desolder pump. If this works, this will be crazy. I mean, it better work for the price, but let's see. We've got some O-rings for sealing something. We've got a stand. Chip pickup tool. I use a Hakko. The best one by far is Hakko. Hakko 394. I'd personally just get this. If you've got £100 to spare, just get this one. If you don't want to spend that much, the other one that I am keeping that I've already forgot where I put. Literally forgot where I put it. I think it was an A10 something. But what did I do with it? I said I was keeping it, that I didn't need it lying around, and then I put it somewhere. Not a clue. It wasn't with them because they're the ones I'm giving away. I did definitely keep it. Is it in components maybe? No, I don't think I put it there. What did I do with that pickup tool? I haven't put it over here. Anybody on stream remember what I said I was doing with it? Or where I put it? Genuinely can't remember. I think I can look on AliExpress anyway, get you the part number. That's probably... Oh, I've closed it down. Let me just pull it up a second. I'll tell you how much it was as well. But it's more than good enough. It's just personally, if you want the best one, just go with the Hakko anyway. So the one I got was why is it showing me everyone except that one? Oh, there. A1080 B778. So I can paste the link into chat, and it was £5. So you can either spend £5 and get that, or you can waste some money like I've done and get the Hakko 394, which is, oh, I did waste some money. It's 240 quid. Nah, I couldn't have paid that, but maybe I did. I did. I paid 200 odd pounds for that. So for a battery and a vacuum pump and a bit of rubber, maybe don't go with the Hakko then. But I'm keeping it. I don't mind spending the money on stuff. I'm going to make use of it, and I know it's like high quality and going to last me. Although the other one is just mechanical, so it's not ever going to fail you either. Right, so back to my new toy. ESD strap, I'm never going to use. Power supply, looks decent quality as well, doesn't look cheap. So we'll plug him in a second. And now this is what we want. Oh yeah, the sound off the desolder pump, yeah. That's going to be annoying as doing 30 holes. So, that's quite a good impression. Sound like a desolder pump now. It's probably what the missus says I sound like anyway. Oh, we got some cartridge. I like this. This is definitely a bit premium. I've got a little, look at that, little metal tin. All the little things. Right then, can we get this off my desk? Right, here we go. So we have, this is what we come to see. This is the thing I was most excited about today, just because it's a completely new experience. I've not ever used a proper cartridge-based micro hot air. I've only ever used the little nozzles, you know, like these things. I've used these before and gone, you can't get enough heat, they're useless, and just gave up and thought micro hot air was useless. But then I've seen these baby tips with cartridges, and I honestly think this is going to work, which is going to be so cool. It's going to give us more options for hot airing in tighter areas where plastics are around and stuff. So we have a little protective thing over the screen. There's that. Let's clear up the desk a minute. We've got some tips. So these are coming with precision hot air tips. I went with the one, I think, with all the options. Oh yeah, that's nice. Just feels premium. I know it's expensive, but it does feel premium. And you can go right the way up to, that's the biggest tip they do. So that's like a, it looks like a 5mm maybe, does it say on? 3.5. So that's never 3.5mm, is it? Maybe it is. That looks like 5mm to me, but it says 3.5 on the side. So that will be, we'll soon find out when we use them. But that'll be the thickest. The thinnest I think is already in, and then everything in between. So I've got every nozzle going all the way down, so largest, and then, so put that in backwards, have I? Yeah, put that one in backwards, I think. No, I haven't. That's weird. Yeah, so the two outer ones go down, and all the middle ones go up. So you've got the largest, then probably smaller, smaller, smaller. I don't think they're in any specific order. But I'm going to start with, I don't know, what do you reckon? Start with the smallest. We might as well, because that is absolutely ridiculous. If that can melt anything, I'm going to be seriously impressed. That is like, in fact, let me get that board. Let's get some faulty boards to mess with. So, I mean, if you look at the size of the tip on here, where's an LED? So, let's do, in fact, let me set this up properly so you can see. And let's get this in a position I can use without the desk being an absolute mess. So, obviously, lots of stuff in the way at the minute, but at least get this moved over and in a position to use. And I'd normally plug stuff like this into, camera's disappeared. I'd normally plug this into my AC bench to make sure it doesn't trip the electrics. So if we go off stream, you know, I should have followed my own advice. But this is a quite expensive version, so I'm hoping the quality's there. Right, so that'll go there. We have that case, that's high quality. This is definitely a premium version. Oh, and look at the make again. You are whatever it is, the soldering iron make that I had until I swapped it out for the Wallow again. So I am impressed with their stuff at the minute. That'll fit there nicely. And I have now, obviously I'm going to move, I've got an extension lead coming for this. This can go back up out the way and this will free the desk space. But this can go here for now. This obviously, I won't leave this here permanent, but this can just sit sort of there for now. So let's put them on top. Ready. And let's turn on and let's see. Let's get a nice close up and see what this is like. There we go. Zoom. Whoa, that's moving fast. Come on, slow movements. There we go. Alright, so turn on. Oh, the UI's a bit boring. I thought that was going to be a bit nicer. I mean, obviously it works, but 300, 400, 420. You know I'm going to run 420. Temperature up and down. I'm going to go 480. Max it out. The max is like the minimum I normally use. Press and hold for menu. Turn for that. Oh, so there's your airspeed. That is annoying. Jeez, can we turn that off? Press and hold for menu. On bal. Yes, definitely off bal. Bal off. Celsius. That's a good menu system. Turn the noise off and show me Celsius. Oh, there's a pump inside there. Wow, that's literally blowing air. Obviously not warm yet, but that from that distance I can feel. That's got some serious power. I better not keep doing that, I'll end up burning my finger. I'll tell you what we could do. Why don't I turn my multimeter back on? Put him in there a minute. Why don't we get the temperature probe and measure the temperature of the air? That's the perfect use for my little tool. So turn that on. Plug in the temperature probe. Take them out. Right, my software's connected. Go to temperature. And this should then, you don't need to see up there then. Connection for a given session, toggle on and off. There we go, right, temperature. Lift this off and I guess it's trying to get it onto that thing. Wow, you've got to be crazy accurate with where that's going. That is absolutely ridiculous on how accurate you'd have to be. I mean, it's working, but that is mad. That is super accurate. So if this works, though, this is absolutely ultimate control of hot air. So there's the tip. I've got a feeling this is going to be perfectly usable, but a technique we've got to learn. So look how close I have to go. Look at the angle. So, whoa. So look at the mat. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm going to burn my mat if I'm not careful. So if we get that over there, like literally on the dot, hot air, 500, 600, that's crazy. Move it slightly out of the way, it's not even making it warm. So I can't even show you how accurate that is. That is ridiculous. And look at the tip, it's glowing, it's that hot. I'm going to turn this down. This is, yeah, this is crazy. I don't think you even need to be that hot. Right, this is 400. This is working wicked. So yeah, if I go there, so there's on. If I move it literally just up in the air or even off to the side slightly, nothing at all. In line, you got the hot air. So that is crazy control. So this is definitely working. I don't know what SE means on my screen. I've already got a complaint on it. SE, that normally, I've had that issue with something else before, but I can't remember what it was. Let's turn off the SE. I don't know what SE it's moaning at on screen saying SE. Where does that remind me of something? SE used to pop up on the Hackos, and God knows what it used to mean. Morning, welcome in. I'm playing with all my new tools. There's my new software on screen. We've just been testing. I think I've already broke my tool. It says SE. I've either broke the tool or broke the tip. Maybe the tip's gone thermo on me. Yeah, I remember this SE thing. This used to be a Hacko problem. So, see my thing now says SE. I could read the manual, but I'm not going to. I think this is just this tip. Probably killed the tip already, going to 480. Getting too excited. Nope. So maybe we try another tip. Maybe I've already killed the superfine tip. Maybe it's nothing to do with that. But yeah, this is mad controlled heat. Let's go the next size up, or 1.5. Yep, so I've killed my tip already. So let's not go to the 480. Let's stick to the 300 now we know it works. Killed the micro tip. So I'll probably just complain to them that that's shit. I've turned it on, put your temperature up, and it's killed it. They'll probably tell me you shouldn't have ran it at the maximum temperature to start with, but that's what you're meant to do. So now, yep, there you go. This is working. So this says it's 300 degrees. So in theory, I don't know that much about thermodynamics that would this ever go above 300. It shouldn't technically go much more above 300. And look at that. 300, that is crazy. It's even accurate as well. I am loving this. Oh yeah, good point. The 480 went to 600-700, so that's why the tips died. It's definitely Maybe, like I say, maybe you're not. The manual might say on the super fine tips, don't go that hot. I just wanted to. I love 480. I like killing things. So let's see. I can see this working. This is going to be ace. The noise is a bit annoying, but oh yeah, and I've also got the air at max as well, haven't I? That's the other thing. I've run everything max, 480 Celsius, 100% airspeed, and the smallest tip possible. So maybe that maybe the thing whinging at me that it was struggling to push air through was kind of hinting at me that you've got it way too high. So this is now on very low airspeed. Oh, this is crazy. Very low airspeed. Can I turn this down to minimum airspeed? No, that's not even blowing air, surely. Yeah, so that is like a mild puff of air. So let's go up 2 or 3. Sounds like a steam engine starting. I keep going off stream with that. I keep thinking we're on stream. That in line. So temperature regulation's pretty good. I mean, that's spiked to 350, but there we go. You've also got to bear in mind how accurate's my temperature probe and things, but yeah, I'm impressed with that. So this is on very little hot air. This is on like two bars of hot air and 300 Celsius. So let's see if we can do anything with it. Oh, I might as well start right. No, in fact, I was going to say I'll start by this because this is the perfect example. You want to take this chip off, but you don't want to melt this. I'm confident I'm going to be able to do that, but let's not start with that. Let's start with maybe just trying to remove this resistor. So you should be able to just go super close and then remove resistors, I presume. I don't know how long it's going to take. And this is, bear in mind, on the low. Well, actually, I think we need to go a bit above 300 because the solder will barely melt at that. Let's go to 320. And to be honest, let's just turn the air up a little bit. We're on 3 on the air and 320 on the temperature now. Oh my god. That is sick. That's absolutely sick. Oh my god, this is awesome. I did not expect it to work this well. So the question will be, like on that, how it doesn't want to come off. Do we increase the tip size, the temperature, or the speed? I'm going to say I'm a bit cautious of the temperature because the 480 was massively unregulated and killed me tip straight away. But I think it's going to be more airspeed. So let's go up with the airspeed. 50% airspeed. That sounds pretty aggressive on the airspeed. Yeah, that's blown it flying off. So you want to keep the air down. So I think that maybe like 3 on the airspeed. Can we put the chip back on is the question. I must say this is one of the most exciting things I've used in a while for the hardware side, the tools wise. Look at that, just melt. Oh yeah, that's maybe not. Maybe it's a removal tool. It just blows the LEDs miles away. Maybe just a bigger tip. Let's try a bigger tip. For removing, perfect, but for putting back on, not so much. Let's remove this tip. And let's go with, I don't know, just go with the largest because the largest isn't even that big. The largest is just about wide enough to go over an LED. That's mad. Oh yeah, I think I've actually seen that. The I don't know if it was that brand. It might have been, but yeah, I think I've seen that. I'm really impressed with this make at the minute. This Yeehaw. It's got to be called the Yeehaw. It's because it blows LEDs everywhere. Right, so this is it. Ah, Jesus, the mat's boiling. Where I've just rested, that tip is on fire. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so for removing them, it's worked wicked. This now is same temperature, 340 and 2 on the air. So this doesn't sound as crazy blowy. Let's try and remove this. Like, doesn't even sound like air's blowing, which it might not because the tip's wider, so maybe. No, it is blowing. I think with practice we can get really good at doing this. The thing is, this tip is quite large if you considered going to here and try not to melt that plastic. This tip does actually look quite beefy then, but let's just see. I want to see if I can get to the point of being able to take something off and put it back on, not just take something off. And then, like I say, temperature-wise, I almost want to go more air, not more temp, because you don't want to be pushing a lot of micro heat and causing, you know, popcorning and burns. Yes, that's removed that. Now, can we put it back on is the question. Are we going to get like a little bounce and a flow? Obviously, we're dry jointing the shit out of this thing, so let's maybe put some flux on. Might have a new tool. This might be my new no soldering iron challenge. Right, so I want to see if this will bounce. I want to kind of see this chip reflow nicely. Yep. So we can reinstall. Why am I so zoomed out as well? Is that all the way zoomed in? There we go. You forget how small things are on this board. So let's try taking off the LED, because the LEDs are notorious for blowing off boards. That's how... I've also got a button on this thing. Oh nice, I've got a button that changes mode. So I can tap a little button here on the handle. And you can toggle between 2 modes. So that's a really useful feature. Maybe one for removing and one for putting back down. So that, oh yeah, look at that, that just lifts. I think I've burnt the LED, I wasn't paying attention. That can go back down. Definitely need flux though when you're doing this, I think. But yeah, I definitely burnt that LED, I think. Yep, that's reflowed on. You can nudge it. And have we burnt this connector at all or not? Yeah, so I've singed the connector there. So maybe, obviously I wasn't paying much attention, I was kind of aiming over here a little bit. Look, whee! That's how you melt it. You probably either need the smaller tip or just watch where you're aiming the air. I'm kind of aiming it over there, you need to maybe aim it accurately. Yep, so that removes. You can see the solder as well, liquefy and solidify. I'll get it to pull into position for us. So it definitely needs flux though. I think without flux you won't get the kind of bounce for things pulling into position. It's just a very dry connection. But with flux, yeah, it's definitely better for removing than it is putting down, but that's probably a skill issue. I don't think... Let's have a go with these shifters. So these shifters are tiny, tiny QFNs. So these are minuscule. Look at the tweezers. So there's the tiny pads. And that sort of pulls into position. There you go, that did actually pull into. This is wicked. This genuinely is... Like, this is amazing. This is well good. I did not expect it. Like, I was hoping it was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I'm obviously shit at using it at the minute. I can tell it's a skill issue, but the potential for this is mad. So the idea would be, this is why I brought it though. Say you've got situations like this where we have... like this is a perfect example on an Amiga. There's a IDE connector like this, and then a SMD cap, an aluminium cap that you don't want to blow up, and then another connector here. So you have basically, in fact, let me pull up a picture. Or, yeah, I haven't got one open at the minute. Let me pull up a picture what I'm on about, and I'll show you. Amiga, I think it's the 500. It's the 500 or 1200. I've got one at the side of me, but it doesn't open. No, it's got to be the 1200 then. Whoops. Amiga 1200 PCB. Yeah, so it's the 1200. So, images. Just find a rando image where I can zoom in for you. There we go. Somebody's selling one somewhere, maybe. I don't know. Right there. Can I zoom in on that? Right, really shit quality image, but if I pull up this on screen, so see this arrow here, so you can see me out. See this cap here? Look at that. It's like, there's a connector for the keyboard, I think it is. There's the cap. There's another plastic connector. That's impossible at the minute to get out with hot air. You do melt shit. So you either go underneath the board, and then you've got to heat the board underneath for a while, and then you can still melt stuff when you heat under the board. So this is the exact reason I brought this. And I've got an Amiga. Actually, I've got two Amiga 1200s I've got to build for Prestige, so I will use it when that comes up, and we'll see if it works for that. But I think it will. I think that's going to be perfect for that. Oh yeah, I think the hot air now I'm practicing. Well, I haven't practiced yet. I've only just started back doing the work after being away. I've got mine set to 330 on the hot air at the minute, on the big hot air. So the micro hot air, I want to. I'm going to change this tip. I want to get back to the small tip again because this is massive. I unfortunately do think I've killed the micro tip, but I do think the micro tip is crazy small. This other one is, I think this was a good size, this other one we used. Oh, still a bit toasty. This is a 1.5, this other tip, so see the size there, 1.5 mil. That looks like a good size, big enough to get into places, not too big to blow stuff off. So let's try, and my goal will be remove and re-add this resistor without melting this and this. And the key will be, we don't want to melt anything, this plastic here. That will be the test. Try switching the soldering modes. I will in a minute. I'm going to play with that button, see what it does. I'm pretty sure it toggles between modes. Fucking hell, I just burnt my hand on that again. I've just rested my hand clean on that to flick the switch on. That'll be a scar. Right, so if you see, I've got this button on here. This is set to 340, channel 1. Ah, it's a cool button. So it goes to cool. Yeah, so it blows, well, it says cool. If that's already at 300 and then you tap, that's still 300 until it cools down, but it will obviously. That turns the heater off and puts the air up to, I guess, blow the board cold, which is pretty cool. So can we hold this maybe? Is it like multifunction? Yes. So if you hold the button, that was a complete guess. That's changed the mode to, or has that just turned it off? I think that's just turned it off. That's just blowing now until, that'll probably get to 100 and then turn off. Yeah, so you can actually have it on your desk like this, turned off, and not have to put it back in. And then I guess you just tap to turn back on, tap to go cold, maybe double tap. No, so I don't think there's going to be any other features other than tap to turn on cold, hold to turn off, and you're fixed at the setting you've got. It would be nice to, I'll have to maybe read the manual, but it'd be nice to be able to toggle between two settings. So the 340 seemed to work pretty good. I think I'm going to just stick at the 340. And that airflow seems, I think you need to turn the air down obviously less for the smaller tips. Whoa, geez, that's hot. Gets hotter when it's lower temp. Yeah, I'm going to keep that on the lowest setting pretty much. Definitely need some practice with this. Right, so flux on here, this is going to be the goal. Take this resistor off, put it back on, and not melt anything. That's what we're trying to achieve, and if so, this is an absolute win. I'm going to try and pay attention as well, so I'm not going to look up at stream, I just want to pay attention to what I'm doing and attempt to do this without melting anything. Well, I say that I need to look at the stream to see what I'm doing, but I'm going to go in like this. I'm still going to purposely aim away from the plastics, because you don't want to, you know, intentionally just aim blindly at plastics, but I can angle it away as best I can. Want to get nice and close. So that's removed the resistor. And go back in. And the key here is, can it reflow? So you've got enough hot air because that's gone flying. So even though you can't hear it running, it's completely silent. Let me just, I'm trying to pick the resistor back up. I'm going to put the resistor on upside down because I can't be bothered to flip them around. But similar to any hot air, you'd kind of make sure one pad is tacked in first. There's the second, and there's the reflow. So there's the pullback. That's mad. So definitely a technique to learn. That's me putting it back in the station. But now, have we melted anything? No, look at that, flawless. Absolutely flawless. Nothing melted whatsoever. So you would not do that. Well, I probably could. I could possibly do it with the bigger hot air, but the point is, you've got way more control there for tighter areas, so we can take that off without melting. The other cool thing, I've seen videos of this being done, is you can reflow, say like a single pin, like, I don't know why, maybe, or reflow in the game gear. I'll tell you what, let me get a game gear. Let me get Daddy McDead. This is the poor VDP I killed. Let's say we wanted to reflow these pins. Flux on, get my fan going, get the micro hot air, and then I'm going to go down here and I want to reflow just the pins. So reflowing pins, I'd probably either go faster, let's try more hot air. Wow, that's blowing solder everywhere, so I definitely wouldn't go hotter on the air, like faster on the air. Keep your air at a reasonable speed. Let's go hotter on the temps then, so let's go 380, seems reasonable. I wouldn't say that's doing a good job. I wouldn't say that's doing anything. So not for reflowing chips. Let's try the fatter tip. Maybe the fatter tip works better for reflowing. So let's try not to also touch these cartridges because they are hot. Right, so I've got the biggest tip in, the 3.5mm. Let's see if this is good for like reflowing pins. So see this big jumbo tip now. Put some flux down. Let's go round the other side now because we've already blown that solder about. I'll catch up on chat in a minute, guys. By the way, I'm too much enjoying my new tool, so I'm not really paying attention. Right, so this is at 380 with 2 on the airspeed. I think it's just hard visually to tell as well if they're reflowing. Doesn't look like it, but you can clearly see like this via is reflowing. So that's how you know it's working, because like this via look goes solid. This will probably just lift off. So we know the hot air's there, but oh, there you go. You can kind of see the pins reflowing. Yeah, that works. Just feels weird, I think, seeing it this way. Let me look at it with my real eye instead of staring at the stream as well. It might be visually not obvious to the camera, but let me use my actual, those eyeballs in my head to see. No, eyeballs say the same thing as the stream. I can't really see. I can't visually see the reflow. So I wouldn't feel comfortable reflowing it like that. Ah, there we go. There we go. Does that show on stream as well? See, the stream doesn't... Yeah, you can just about see. See them pins now going like shiny as we go down. Yeah, so it's a damn slow process though. And then more air. Let's go on this one. I think with the fat tip we can probably go. Let's go loads of air. Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna be melting the pins. I think you just can't see. I don't think I'd use it for reflowing. No, you can there. Yeah, you can. You just got to be patient. I'm just being impatient. So for reflowing, probably, and again, it comes down to practice, but probably the fattest tip, 380 degree on the air, and 50% on the airspeed. And then we get you get the reflow happening there. You see it happening. It's just a completely different technique and way of working. Like, you've got to learn the new times, that how long you wait and when to expect the reflow to start, and basically technique. I've not used this, and it's definitely not the same as using a normal hot air station at all. So reflowing, I think I need more practice first. But recapping, I bet recapping would be good on this. Have we got a Game Gear with original caps? Yes, we have. How about taking caps off? Where's a cap? So, stinky old cap. Flip him round. There he is. And this cartridge connector is one I like to burn, so let's have a go with this. Fattest tip, right by the connector, not even attempting to be delicate. Let's just see if we can do this. And there's no way you're getting this close with any other hot air. Like, a regular hot air is not gonna not melt shit being this close. The other thing you have to bear in mind, these are also stuck down first. Let's crack that adhesive first. Whoa, it stinks of cat piss. Right, so that's the physical cage off the board. Just so we're not, trying to lift up, so you can just see get the plastic out of the way. There's the cap, standard cap inside. Yep, and that comes off. So look at that. Just remove that cap, and have we done any damage? We've done a little bit of melty melt there on the underside, which I could probably avoid if I purposely went with a smaller tip and got close. So I think you're still going to have to, like on the Amiga or the Atari, I think we'd still have to be careful because the cap is about that close. Like, it's done no damage to the top, but where it's hitting the board at the bottom, it's still kind of blown in and done a little bit of damage there. But this is at, again, 380 and quite fast on the airspeed, so we lowered that back down to 330. I think with enough practice I'd get good enough at this to remove things right by plastic. I honestly think it's just literally practice with this and you'd get really good. Let's have another go. I just want to use this now for everything. So I think it's, yeah, that's wicked. Comes off. So this is definitely a lot more precise and controlled for, wow, look at all that electrolyte. That's the perfect reason you recap consoles. Look at the state of that. Yeah, this is way more controlled for just being delicate with the board. I guess you feel like you're being a bit more gentle with the board and not putting heat where it doesn't need to be. I really like this. This is one of my new favourites for sure. Yeah, that's wicked. I like that. 100% will recommend that. Yeah, that's good. Right, let me catch up on this chat because I haven't been paying any attention for Probably about 20 minutes, to be honest. Let me just scroll up. Oh yeah, there's been loads of chat I've missed. Oh yeah, it doesn't even let me scroll up because I forget chat only shows you so long and then it disappears. Oh, we got spam in the chat. Oh, mostly a spam bot. Let me open up YouTube, and I always forget how to do this. Do I go to my own live? There's the dude. Can I click? And yeah, I can. Report. Mute myself. Bam, bam, bam. Harassment, bullying, hate speech, child abuse. Where's just spam? Sorry, to unwanted commercial content. Oh, or spam. There we go. Hide user from channel. Okay. Right, I presume that spammy dude's gone. Got it. I think it's just all that dude spamming chat. Bum bum bum. Yeah, can you shut the fuck up? the one time I don't pay that much attention to the chat, and we just got a spammer. We definitely need that thing where people can comment a certain thing and it makes a noise to tell me that there's a spammer. Right, yeah, so that should stop now anyway. Yeah, so there actually wasn't any chat, it was just a spam botter. Right, that's that tool. I'm impressed with that. What else did I actually want to test? Is there anything left? I've got that. I've done the desolder gun. I have lost that desolder pump though, the one I said I'm keeping. Literally, oh, it's up the top. I found it now. I put it on top of my multimeter at the top. So the only thing I wanted to show, which really, to be honest, I'm going to leave that for another video. I was going to show how to fit the new GBA clean juice, but, well, I'll show it here anyway, but this video is obviously, the stream's quite long now. I don't want to mix it in with yet another long stream. I'll do a dedicated stream to show you this, but this is the Clean Juice AA. It now comes like this. You get a USB cover, you get a little spudger, and you get the board. And I will show you how to fit this. Very similar, but it's a little bit tighter than the previous one. So oh, there is a few chats I missed. Scroll down. Was it expensive? This hot air is 330. I paid for it, I think. So a little bit expensive, but I can tell you now this is quality. Like everything about it's quality. So there's the machine. This Yeehaw 85091. You can see the quality when you see like the tips come in this, the cartridges. Like, you know, this is nice quality foam. The stand, high quality. This just the feel of it. That's metal. This is decent rubber. You just see that it's quality. Handle feels good. Tube feels good. I think that is probably, based on the fact it's a Yeehaw, that's probably a JCB clone, or a JBC rather, not the Diggers. I reckon that's like a clone for how good that is. It's crazy. The only thing is, I literally went, oh, world's smallest tip. Oh, max temperature, max airspeed, and then this just went thermo on me, and literally was glowing red. So I think that was my fault. I'm still going to complain to them and buy some more tips anyway, because this is genuinely good. I've ran it at literally airspeed of like, I picked this up. The fattest tip I've only got 50%. The smaller tips I'm literally running the air, like literally turned off and then 2 cranks up like that, and that's more than enough. So it's running very low, like there at most. But for the fat tip, I've just cranked the air up like that for doing the reflow, but you never need the air up there. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, you do not need it anywhere near. I just presumed you would, but you need it absolutely nowhere near that top end at all. So yeah, really impressed with that. So just a quick demo of this. Like I say, I'll do a dedicated video, but for those of you that want to actually see it, Yeah, I did look at the JBC to buy it as well. What I did was I spec'd out the entire Walla setup, the new stuff, the WX Smart, before I made the software for the multimeter at the weekend. I spec'd up the Hakko, they just weren't good enough. They didn't have enough things, the Hakko. They weren't like premium enough in a sense. And I spec'd up the JBC. My JBC bill come to 17 grand. The Walla bill come to, I think, 5 grand. So that was more realistic. That's everything. That's a proper filter, the new air, a new hot air station, a new micro hot air station, tweezers, everything. But instead, to be honest, now I've wrote the software for the multimeter. I can probably write software for hot air, but I don't think we need it because, well, I'll just read it out. That's something to get chat interested. This is that good. I'm not even going to change it. That is genuinely, I think, going to be as good as the top brands. I've already got the Walla. The new Walla's no different. It uses this exact iron, so there's literally no point in the Walla. So I think, to be honest, and I've got a new one of these coming, just because the tips for doing this, where's my camera? The tips for doing the, geez, I can't figure out where I am on camera. Tips for doing this on the Game Gear that go perfectly over the VDP, like that, so it doesn't warm the chip, it just warms the pins. I couldn't find one for the Hakko I've got, so I've just brought a Hakko with a straight tube, basically. So I've got a new one of them coming, but I think I'm going to stick with this setup now, and the only thing I need to buy is the better extractor, basically. Oh, your wife's full of hot air too. Mine is. Mind you, I'll be careful. She sometimes watches these streams. She'll probably come in though if she hears. I did it the first time I started streaming. I started chatting about something, and I think I was probably slagging them off. And then one of them, she was like, "Oh, you did such and such, didn't you?" I was like, "How do you know what I did?" She's like, "Oh, I've been watching you." I'm like, "Oh shit, I better be careful what I say now." So you never know when they're watching. So for this Clean Juice AA, very simple. And again, I'll do a dedicated install video on this in the next day or so. Make sure you got your battery springs in there. Get your board. You want it to be facing this way. So you want to see all the chips and you want to place it here. And what you're going to do is get the first battery, make sure you've got it the right way. So when you see the triangle, it's negative, so it's the flat, not the positive. So flat end towards spring like that. You're going to put the board in, put the first battery in, and it holds the board up. So it's that simple. It basically just rests the board in. You can lift it up slightly if you want, like that. And then now put the other battery in as you would. Again, make sure you got it the right way. Flat end towards flat spring there. So that just pushes down. This board's now in here. Fold it over, go to put it in there like so, and then with your little spudger that comes in the toolkit, a sort of stabby stab, just push the top battery out the way. So you push that out the way, this then pushes down nice and easy, and this side just goes down. You don't need to push anything out the way. If you want to, you can do it after, but in saying that, just as I say that bends a bit, because I didn't pre-bend the legs. Bend them legs as well, so see these legs here, bend them flat first, don't leave them how I just did, which was obviously not pre-bent. So do that again, fold it down, push that battery out of the way because that's the firm one, that slides down and the other side should slide down, and it looks like, to be honest, that one, I wonder if this is a bit tight. Yeah, I don't think this is this an old shell? No, this should be fitting. Oh, wrong end of the spudger maybe? Yeah, so maybe you've got to push them both out the way. I've only installed about 7 of these so far. But normally you just push that one out the way, which is now going down fine. And this one for the other one, so push that out the way. Yeah, there you go. So in this case, oh, that's really annoying. This one doesn't want to go down. So why is this one not going in? This battery's like tighter than it should be. So much for that being simple. I've done all the ones I've done. This has worked first time ever. Oh, this is hanging out. This is floating in mid-air up here. It's not even in. That's what the problem is. Thought something was wrong. That's got. Oh, I think that's a third party. Let me get a different shell. This is a third party spring, I think. Let me get the normal shells. This one will do. It's one of, I don't think that battery springs ours. I think it's like a random third party. It's one of our tests. So let's do that again. Take the old clean juice out. Let's fix that. Because that shouldn't be... Oh, of course, that hasn't got a battery spring in. Let me get a third one. There we go. Right, this is an original, but it works on originals just the same. Principle's exactly the same again, basically. Place this in, put your battery in, like so. Put the other battery in, like so. Bend down, put that as if it's ready to go through. And then all you should have to do, and this also does for us, push that battery out of the way. That slides down. This one you shouldn't have to push anything, it should just slide down. But no, so it definitely does. This side obviously, for some reason, needs to be pushed out the way as well. And I don't get it. I've never had that issue, so I might have to think of a better way of installing this then, because that shouldn't... Like, I mean, it's in, but that is not in as it should be. Like, I'm not happy with how that's going in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at another way of doing that, because I'm not happy with that install. For some, like, that's never been a problem. But the idea is you basically just have to get this slid down between the batteries. One way is you could just, you know, hold them and slide them all in at the same time, but that's awkward. So I'll review that and do a video later of like the best way of installing this, because that's, for some reason, that is not working on these. It's like too tight on this battery. So I'll figure that one out. I don't know why it is, but I'll figure out like a good technique to get that in easier. So that's that one. I obviously wanted to show that off on a dedicated video anyway, but I need to play with that a bit more and find a better way of installing it. It needs to be like foolproof for you guys to install nice and easy. And I thought I had it, but obviously that's still a bit tricky for some reason. Right, what time are we on? 20 past 8. I don't think I've got any time spare to start a repair yet. I'll probably... What day are we on? Tuesday? No, I haven't. I can probably come on stream later, maybe 3 or 4, so I'll probably come back on later in the afternoon and carry on streaming. For now, I need to clean up all this mess, set this new hot air up in a position that I can use, get this off my desk and up out the way, and then get started with the day. So I will probably come back on later this afternoon for stream. Tomorrow we've got our first sub-only stream, so if you're subbed on YouTube or Twitch, we're starting the sub-only streams tomorrow at 4 PM. It's the first one. I'm going to go through my entire desk setup, tools we use, and then I'm going to start teaching you how to do like soldering, repair, diagnostics, reading schematics. We're going to make a PC Engine GT product that's going to be open source and released, and you're going to see that made on the sub-only streams. And plus, obviously, if you sub to the channel, it just supports me and what I do. So if you're interested in anything like that, then definitely just join the YouTube membership or the Twitch sub. You'll also, if you then go on discord.gg/retro6, link your YouTube or Twitch to the Discord, and you'll be invited to a secret elite members chat channel on Discord where all of the subs are, like all the ones that have joined the Discord. And that's where we'll have a lot of the chat and planning for all the sub-only stuff. So you really want to get on the Discord and go into that channel, because that's where majority of our convos will happen, you know, when we're planning the streams, when people are on. If you've got any questions outside of streams, you can ask in there as well, and you'll get dedicated replies from me. So all that good stuff. But yeah, that's it for this morning, guys. A ton of new products. If you haven't seen it from the start, probably go back and look. There was a hell of a lot of stuff I've brought, and to be honest, everything's worked pretty much as I wanted to, and it's been good. Yeah, I've got some more stuff coming. If you found that interesting, let me know, and I can obviously stream the other stuff when it comes. Yeah, thanks, Rune. I think I can hear Rusty outside, so I'll go check on him now. He's either had his food already, or he's going to be angry at me because it's way past his breakfast time. Hopefully, he's been fed. They've got a little something inside them. That must be normal. Yeah. Yeah, they have a shaky thing and they all work. Let me just quickly try my thermonuclear tip as well, see if I have destroyed it. You can see literally the the fact the tip is glowing, like that steel has changed colour. Yeah, I've defo killed that tip. so SE means seriously erupted. I don't know. Whatever SE means, it means it's dead. So my super micro tip, to be honest, I probably wouldn't use that one anyway. It is ridiculously small. I can't see a use for that. I think the 1.5, maybe slightly thinner than the 1.5 is useful. Anything smaller than that, I don't think it's needed.